So nothing has changed about our methodology here, except we're probably going to have to factor at the very beginning of our problem. So if we factor that first denominator, we have a GCF of 2x squared, which leaves us with x plus 4. I highly, highly, highly encourage you to check your factoring by very quickly just multiplying it back out. 2x squared times x is 2x cubed. 2x squared times 4 is 8x squared. Just to make sure that you didn't make it. Okay, middle one is a monomial, no factoring to be done there. Last one has a GCF of just 2x. Be careful with that. That one's just 2x. And we have the x plus 4. So the good news is we have a lot of overlap here. Our LCD is indeed that first denominator. That will eliminate all of the other denominators. If it's 2x squared times x plus 4, that'll take care of everything. So we go through and we multiply every single term by our LCD. Now, I really haven't explained why we can do this up to this point. I've kind of breezed over that fact. The reason why this works, it's not just a trick, okay? It is not just a trick. The reason why we are allowed to do this is because you have to keep equations balanced. If you do something to the left side, you have to do the exact same thing to the right side. And that's what we're doing here. We're multiplying the left side by 2x squared times x plus 4. We're also multiplying the right side. The right side just had two terms. It had one rational expression minus another rational expression. So to multiply the entire right side, you got to multiply both those terms. Okay? So really, that's what we're doing. It's not magic that it just works out. It's because we're keeping our equations balanced by doing it. If you do it to one side, you got to do it to the other. So back to solving. 2x squared obviously cancels. The x plus 4 cancels. So there's nothing else around that x squared plus 2x plus 1, so we can leave it as is. Equal to the 2x squared cancels. 1 times x plus 4 is just x plus 4. Here, the x plus 4 cancels. The 2 cancels. One of the x's cancels. Okay, do not lose that minus x right there. And it was a minus. Now, there's just one term, so we don't have to worry about parentheses and distributing. It just applies to that x there. All right, so now when we're looking at our problem, we've got x minus x on the same side, so those cancel out. We've got x squared plus 2x plus 1 is equal to 4. Okay, be careful with this, because yes, this left side factors the way that it is, but before you factor, it must be equal to 0. Okay, never, ever, ever factor if you have anything on the other side of the equation other than 0. Okay, so we subtract 4, x squared plus 2x minus 3, so we get x plus 3 times x minus 1. So we get negative 3 and positive 1 for our answers. Here's where what I was saying earlier will help. In terms of answers that get thrown out, 99% of the time they get thrown out, or actually probably 100% of the time, actually, they get thrown out because they make at least one of the denominators equal 0. Okay, so let's look at the denominators and let's look at them in factored form, because that's the easiest way to determine what will make them 0. If x is 0 right here, 2 times 0, 0 times whatever's in parentheses, it's going to be 0. So if we got 0 as a solution, we would throw that out. What other number would we throw out? What other number would make our denominator 0? What number right here would make the denominator 0? What do you add to 4 to get 0? Negative 4. Okay? If we had gotten negative 4 as an answer, it would have been thrown out because negative 4 plus 4 is 0. Okay, we would have been multiplying by 0, which would have caused us to divide by 0, because our denominator would be 0. So really, 0 and -4 are the only issues that we should have. Now, I still encourage you to check your answers. I still want you to check them, because you will catch careless mistakes by checking them. But if you feel really, really confident in what you did, you should feel confident in the answers of -3 and 1. There aren't any issues there, okay? There's no reason to throw them out unless you made a mistake somewhere along the way, okay? You follow my point there in terms of what gets thrown out and what doesn't get thrown out. Okay, let's look at number 8. Obviously, start by factoring, GCF, pull out a 2. We've got 2 times 5x plus 2. Pull out an x. X times 5x plus 2. Pull out a 2x. We get 5x plus 2. Again, you can check your factoring very, very easily. Just multiply it back out. Make sure you got what you originally had. Okay, so obviously all of our denominators have the 5x plus 2, so that has to be part of our LCD. And then 2 of them have an x, and 2 of them have a 2. So that's going to cover our LCD, 2x times 5x plus 2. If you're struggling with figuring out the LCD still, I would suggest looking at the biggest denominator, okay? The denominator that has the most stuff in it. So in this case, it would be the last one. Look at the other denominators from that one. Do they have anything that this one does not have, okay? So I've got a 2 here, okay? I've got an x and I've got a 5x plus 2. When I look at the other denominators, do they have anything that this one did not have? Okay, that one had a 2, 2's covered, the x is covered, the 5x plus 2 is covered. So we've covered all the bases. Okay, that might help if you're still struggling with that concept. All right, multiplying everything. The 2 cancels in the first one. The 5x plus 2 cancels. We've got x times 1, which is, of course, just x. In the second one, the x cancels. The 5x plus 2 cancels. So we have 2 times x plus 6. I didn't go ahead and multiply it out. You can go ahead and multiply it out if you want to. In the last one, everything cancels. So we've got x squared plus x minus 12. It is a quadratic because we have x squared, so we're trying to get everything on one side. I'm going to go ahead and subtract that x. There are several different ways that you can handle this. Okay, we want it in standard form, so that x squared is going to go first. Distribute that 2. We've got plus 2x plus 12. But then we also have a minus 12, so that goes away. Pull out the x. We've got x times x plus 2, so we have x equals 0 as one of our solutions, and x equals -2 is one of our solutions. Anything that we should throw out? The 0. The 0, because we've got these GCFs of x's in our denominators, so that'll cause our denominators to be 0. So that one gets thrown out. Is -2 okay? Yeah, it won't cause us to be 0. Okay, but -2/5 would cause us to be 0. So -2 is our one and only solution to that equation.